My wife betrayed me when she got cancer and lost a lot of weight. She changed her lifestyle, then I saw her with another man. I first encountered Natalie during my college years. She had a sturdy build, large glasses, and some skin issues. Majoring in art, her fashion sense was distinctly unconventional, showcasing her unique style. Most guys, myself included, didn't find her eccentric look appealing. Despite being in different majors, she in art and I in production technology, we found ourselves in the same computer graphics design class, a requirement for both her graduation and my AutoCAD skills. When we were paired for a group project, it was surprising how little we had interacted despite sharing classes. Our lives were vastly different. I was into sports and hung out with the popular crowd, while Natalie smoked and mingled with the avant-garde, artistic types. My dating life consisted of cheerleaders and athletes, while Natalie was often overlooked or the backup girlfriend among her friends. As we worked together, we spent a lot of time with each other, and naturally I started noticing her more. She must have noticed too, as one evening our conversation shifted from schoolwork to personal topics. When my girlfriend arrived to pick me up, I felt an unexpected sadness leaving Natalie, and it seemed she felt the same. The next day she was cold towards me. I asked what I did wrong, and she replied almost in tears that I was an absolute idiot. Realizing we needed privacy, I took her hand and led her to a nearby park bench. After grabbing some drinks, we continued our talk. I asked why she thought I was a jerk, trying to lighten the mood. She replied, tears rolling down her face, that she thought I was different, even though I wasn't artistic. As we talked, I pondered her words and asked if she was upset that I went on a date. She sharply responded that it wasn't about the date, but about how all guys, including me, didn't care about a real connection with a woman who genuinely loved them. They just wanted shallow relationships with brainless girls. I calmly explained that girls with looks knew how to use them, whether in dating or other ways. She looked at me skeptically and asked what I meant. Annoyed, I replied that they made their interest known and acted on it. She was silent, fists clenched, visibly angry. I decided to clarify things. I took off her big glasses, revealing her hidden beauty, and kissed Hera a deep, passionate kiss. Later, I found out it was her first kiss outside her family. That kiss led to more intimate moments as she opened up, and we kissed deeply on that park bench. The next few weeks flew by. We finished our project and got an A, and we started dating. Natalie switched to contact lenses, saw a dermatologist, and dressed more traditionally. I never asked her to change her bohemian style, but as we went out more, she needed new clothes. She took me shopping and wanted my opinion. I told her jeans were popular even for artists. She felt too big for jeans, but I reassured her, comparing her to the full-figured models by Rubens. She bought the jeans and looked great in them, but I thought her tops and sweatshirts didn't match her new look. She accused me of only caring about her chest. I jokingly admitted it, but said they were for me, and she wore them for my sake. Being intimate with Natalie felt magical, like being with a fairy tale princess. Though it wasn't wild, it was special. As her first lover, I wanted it to be memorable and enjoyable. Over time, she became more interested in intimacy and even started requesting it. While we didn't explore any wild kinks, I cherished every moment because I loved her deeply. A few weeks later, she looked at herself in the mirror and said she felt like a bigger version of the women she despised. I reassured her, saying she was my girlfriend no matter what. We were incredibly happy together and got engaged after graduation. I got a job at an automotive design firm, and Natalie started working at an art magazine. My family loved Natalie and welcomed her. Her family was just her mom and sister, and I wasn't fond of them. At our engagement party, I overheard her sister saying I was too conventional and might stifle Natalie's artistic side, despite Natalie looking radiant and happy. Her mom whispered to her sister that she thought we were only getting married because Natalie was pregnant and that it wouldn't last. But we proved them wrong over time. We were truly happy and loved each other deeply. On our 7th anniversary, her mom started dropping hints about wanting grandchildren since Natalie and I were her only hope, as her sister couldn't have kids. Natalie quickly assured her we were trying, but despite our efforts over the years, we were unsuccessful. Natalie's mom, Sophie, took it upon herself to book us appointments at a fertility clinic, assuming the issue was on my end. I went to the appointment, underwent tests, and provided samples, only to find out that everything was perfectly normal with me. Upon hearing the news, Sophie jokingly suggested we should practice more until we succeeded so she could become a grandmother while still young. However, Natalie's results told a different story and changed our lives forever. We learned she had various reproductive health issues, making natural conception extremely unlikely, if not impossible. That evening, I held her tightly as she cried herself to sleep, assuring her that adoption or exploring other treatments were options for us. Deep down, I harbored resentment towards her mother for pushing the situation to such an extreme. Through her tears, Natalie told me that if I wanted a divorce, I could have it. I told her I would never leave her unless she pushed me away and mentioned her mother's insinuation that she might cheat on me to conceive. I assured her I would never betray her because she meant everything to me. She looked at me and asked why I stayed with a woman who couldn't have children. I replied that I loved her more than anything, and losing her would devastate me. She seemed to calm down a bit and eventually fell asleep. But honestly, those days are now a blur, and I struggle to recall all the details. 2 days later, we got a call from the clinic for another appointment. During the consultation, the doctor revealed she had referred Natalie's test to a specialist. Our shock intensified when we found out Natalie was battling an aggressive form of early-stage cancer. Suddenly, everything clicked: her constant fatigue, unexplained body soreness, and frequent mood swings and irritability. The revelation terrified me, but fortunately, we caught it early enough for a favorable prognosis. The doctor directed us to a specialized oncology center and set up an appointment for the next day. Natalie underwent a series of extensive tests, marking the beginning of her arduous journey. I took a leave of absence from work and stayed by her side through every test, offering support and encouragement. In the following weeks, Natalie underwent lymph node surgery and started radiation therapy. I stayed in the family suite at the cancer center to be close to her, greeting her each morning, staying by her side all day, and even getting permission to stay overnight until she fell asleep. Her mother and sister occasionally visited, often giving me the cold shoulder, possibly thinking I was somehow responsible for Natalie's illness. However, the radiation therapy was ineffective and started damaging healthy tissue along with the tumors, so we opted for chemotherapy. Natalie lost a lot of weight due to radiation, and chemotherapy threatened to cause hair loss. The hospital nurses were incredibly supportive, often going above and beyond to help me care for Natalie. One nurse, Lily, stood out with her striking red hair, green eyes, and tall, slender frame. She exuded warmth and kindness, always greeting me with a smile or a joke, and offering a comforting embrace or a listening ear when I needed it most, helping me maintain a positive outlook. Most nurses in the oncology unit worked 4 10-hour shifts with 3 days off, but Lily worked from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. She was there when I left Natalie at night and when I returned at 6 a.m. the next day. She was consistently cheerful, especially around me. The only time I saw her upset was during a conversation with Natalie's mother, Sophie. Sophie remarked that I might leave her daughter now that she was sick, and Lily reacted fiercely, threatening to physically intervene. The hospital environment is utterly disheartening. A large number of patients receive minimal visitors because their loved ones are hesitant to visit due to concerns of contagion. Lily emphasized my constant presence and support for Natalie during difficult times, asking Natalie's mother where she was to assist her when she needed to use the restroom, or during her hair loss, when I shaved my head to match hers. Lily chuckled, recalling my shiny scalp. She asked if Natalie's mother was present during that time, or when I administered sponge baths to help her maintain dignity. Lily noted that I devoted all my vacation and sick leave to her, pointing out that her health insurance didn't cover the treatment, so I was deeply in debt for her daughter. Despite it all, I was by her side every single day, holding her hand and reassuring her of my love. Hearing about Lily's confrontation with Natalie's mother later brought a slight smile to my face. What truly mattered to me was Natalie's well-being. Several nurses shared the incident with me, all equally enraged at Sophie. I noticed Sophie became noticeably less aloof towards me afterward, even reaching out and patting me on the shoulder as I held Natalie's hand during her afternoon nap. The chemotherapy took a toll on Natalie, leaving her weakened but cancer-free. Her hair began to grow back, and we adopted a new diet to help her regain strength. She underwent multiple plastic surgeries to remove excess skin from her weight loss. Natalie emerged as a new woman, 80 pounds lighter, with clear skin, contact lenses replacing her glasses, and her hair restored. People who knew her couldn't help but take a second glance. Though not as striking as Lily, she was the best version of herself, and my love for her remained unwavering. I returned to work, putting in extra hours to cover the medical expenses we had incurred. Natalie couldn't work for a while, but our intimate life, always fulfilling, intensified as Natalie expressed gratitude for my support during her illness. She began casually dating women from her previous job while I was at work. It seemed like Natalie's way of branching out, as she had never been very social except with me. Maybe it was a form of post-cancer affirmation, but I didn't think much of it. Little did I know, our marriage was on the rocks. In the following weeks, Natalie began coming home late, often appearing tipsy. She exclaimed that she had never had so much fun. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt working grueling 12 to 16-hour days to cover her medical expenses while she enjoyed herself without me. Her clothes became more revealing, and when I asked about it, she said she wanted to show off her new body, claiming it was just for fun. I started to question when it became necessary for her to seek validation from others. During that time, I sensed something was amiss in our marriage. Despite my concerns, I hesitated to face the truth, as Natalie had become my entire world. Our shared experiences, especially battling cancer, had significantly deepened our bond. Meanwhile, my dedication at work didn't go unnoticed, resulting in a raise, promotion, and bonus. I saw this as an opportunity to plan a surprise vacation for Natalie, hoping to reignite our relationship. Instead of immediately sharing the good news, I decided to throw a small birthday celebration for her and discuss the idea of relocating together. However, things didn't go as planned, and it shattered my heart and our marriage. During a routine checkup, Natalie ran into Lily, who she never liked because of her beauty and perceived threat. Despite Natalie's weight loss, she still felt inferior to Lily. During their brief conversation, Lily remarked on how strange it was to see Natalie without me. Natalie explained that I was at work, but Lily's comment about being lucky to have someone who loves her so much made Natalie uncomfortable. After their encounter, Natalie sought solace at a bar she had visited the previous night, thinking she could have a drink and get back home before I arrived. At the bar, she met an old friend, Evelyn Harper, who complimented her on her weight loss and asked about me. Natalie responded that I was good and just hanging out. They were soon joined by a group of men, and Natalie got up to dance with one of them, so engrossed that she didn't notice Lily walking in. Lily watched Natalie's actions and companions before ordering a sandwich and returning to work with a new idea. In the following days, I kept up my usual workload while planning Natalie's surprise party. I invited her mother, sister, and friends, bought gifts, and hoped the celebration would help rekindle our relationship. I was pleasantly surprised when my mother-in-law offered to help decorate for the party. During Natalie's hospitalization, we had grown closer. While she may not have been fond of me romantically, she respected my love for her daughter and accepted me. Over the subsequent days, a pattern emerged. Natalie left and returned home late, and our once vibrant sex life dwindled. I couldn't remember the last time we had been intimate. Women at work sensed my need for relief, persistently bothering me. One evening, upon returning from work, the phone rang. It was Lily, urgently asking to meet somewhere to discuss something important. We agreed to meet at the park across from the hospital, a spot where we had often met during Natalie's hospitalization, to lift my spirits. It held happy memories, and Lily didn't want to taint that. Sitting on a small bench, I greeted her with a smile, asking if I was behind on payments or if Natalie was sick again. Lily revealed that Natalie was unwell, but not with cancer. She recounted the places she had seen my wife recently, detailing her actions and company, and disclosed that it seemed Natalie was being unfaithful. I struggled to believe it, asserting that Natalie loved me. Lily advised caution, expressing her hope that she was wrong for my sake. Her touch sent a shiver down my spine, and she assured me that she would be there when I needed a friend. Everything unfolded better than expected. Lily knew that if I found out too late, the pain would be unbearable. She believed it was better for me to endure smaller hurts now, rather than one massive heartbreak later. Although she never wanted to hurt me, I needed to know about my unfaithful wife. Lily couldn't recall when her feelings for me started, but it no longer mattered. Maybe it was watching my unwavering dedication, whether caring for Natalie or enduring her dismissive treatment once she began to recover. Natalie had started treating me more like a servant than a loving husband who had sacrificed everything for her. Lily was acutely aware of her beauty, a fact often pointed out throughout her life. Despite her many relationships, no man had ever shown her the same love and tenderness that I showed Natalie. She realized she would give anything to have such affection in her life. She felt ready for the next phase of her plan. 2 nights later, I returned home with a sense of anticipation. The modest party was meant to reignite the romance with Natalie. I had been paying closer attention to our interactions lately and noticed her growing distance and increased drinking. I eventually fell asleep, but she had not yet come home. When I woke up, she was beside me, smiling as she rolled over. Despite knowing she was likely out partying, I brushed it off. Natalie, who once hated parties when we met, now seemed to crave the experiences she had missed, perhaps celebrating her victory over cancer. While I longed for her to celebrate with me, I couldn't shake the feeling of my own selfishness. At 6:30 a.m., Natalie's mother, Sophie, arrived with her other daughter, Eliana. They started decorating the house quickly, knowing Natalie could come home at any moment. I had only invited a few close friends to keep it intimate. By 9:00 p.m., guests began wondering about Natalie's absence, leaving their gifts and departing. By 11:00 p.m., only Sophie, Eliana, and I were left. I made another attempt to reach Natalie on her cell. She called back half an hour later, sounding drunk and explaining that she had lost track of time while having a drink with her mother and sister. In the background, a man's voice urged her to return for more fun. She reassured me that we would reunite soon, and I could reveal my surprise. Silence lingered for a while. Sophie noticed my struggle to hold back tears. I felt like my world had collapsed, unsure how to react. Sophie acknowledged that she may have had doubts about me initially, but her view had changed. Eliana interjected with a comment about my nerve. I thanked them both for coming, assured them I would clean up and put Natalie's gifts away, and mentioned that they were welcome to stay, but that I wasn't sure watching her arrival would help. Eliana expressed a desire to see her sister's reaction when confronted with her lie. I explained that Natalie had battled cancer and we didn't know its full impact. All we could do was support her and hope for the best. Sophie and Eliana left, shaking their heads. I gathered clothes and personal items, packing swiftly to minimize return trips, and left a note for Natalie on the kitchen table. I ensured I had everything I needed to stay away for a while. The next day, I started looking for a divorce lawyer during work breaks, browsing ads but not making calls. My colleagues thought I had a cold or flu as I kept my distance. Despite Natalie's attempts to reach me, I stayed unresponsive, repeating this routine for 3 days: work, motel, sleep, repeat. On the 3rd day, Lily was sitting on the hood of my car as I left the office, her eyes full of tears. She demanded to know why I hadn't called her. I stayed silent, meeting her gaze, and the emotional barrier I had built crumbled, tears streaming down my face. I admitted softly that everything she warned me about was true. Lily jumped off the car and hugged me. Despite my turmoil, I couldn't ignore the inappropriate surge of desire as her chest pressed against mine. She pleaded for forgiveness, never wanting to cause me pain. Meanwhile, Natalie was surveying the mess in her apartment, her head pounding. She muttered about Liam needing to clean the mess when he got back and wondered why he wasn't home yet. When she peeked through the peephole, she saw it was just her mother. She quickly threw on a robe and opened the door, apologizing for the mess and explaining that Liam seemed to disappear into thin air at work. Sophie confronted Natalie about her whereabouts and appearance, questioning who she had been with. Natalie snapped at her mother, denying any wrongdoing. Sophie pressed on, asking about the hickeys on Natalie's neck and expressing concern about her lies. Natalie muttered about Liam not seeing the hickeys and requested coffee for her headache. Sophie reluctantly went to the kitchen to make coffee and continued questioning Natalie about her lies. Natalie tried to think of something to say before Liam returned, pleading with her mother for help. She admitted to messing up, but insisted it was just for fun and that she needed to experience things she missed out on when she was younger. Sophie handed Natalie a note found in the kitchen. The note expressed Liam's love and appreciation for Natalie, acknowledging her strength in battling cancer and explaining that he couldn't stay in her life anymore. Liam hoped she would read the note so they could discuss their future, but if he didn't hear from her, he would proceed with filing for divorce. The note concluded with Liam expressing his love and hope that her next partner would appreciate her more than he did. After reading the letter, Natalie collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Sophie looked at her daughter, thinking she had raised a foolish girl. Meanwhile, across town, Lily escorted Liam to her home. She gently helped him out of the car, guiding him inside and settling him on the sofa. Lily started talking to him, recognizing that he had been on autopilot for days, just going through the motions. Now, he had hit rock bottom. Despite his outward appearance, Lily believed he had much more strength than he realized. She resolved to help him break free from his deceitful wife. Lily knew it was not the right time to reveal more details about Natalie. She had hired a detective agency to monitor Liam and Natalie for the past week and knew when he had left her, but she decided to wait before confronting him. Natalie had done far worse than Liam knew, and Lily wasn't sure if he could handle the truth in his current state. Leaving Liam on the couch, she changed into more comfortable clothes and prepared dinner steak and salad. While she ate, Liam pushed his food around his plate, deep in thought. They didn't speak a word during dinner. Afterward, Lily turned off Liam's cell phone, noting there were no messages, which indicated that Natalie was still too drunk to notice his absence. This was a good sign. Lily called the hospital, informing them she would be absent for personal reasons, and encouraged Liam to do the same. Despite his reluctance due to financial obligations, Lily insisted, and he eventually agreed to take 2 days off. Lily gave him a blanket and settled him on the couch, hugging him like a child and kissing his forehead. If he needed her, she was there. Meanwhile, Natalie was frantically trying to reach Liam, calling his cell phone repeatedly, frustrated by his lack of response. She needed to explain herself, emphasizing that she didn't want a divorce and couldn't live without him. Liam had always been her pillar of strength, her unwavering support. Despite her recent actions, she maintained that her marriage was the most important thing in her life. Liam's love had been steadfast, even during her struggles when she was overweight and overlooked by others. Recalling their fight against cancer, she realized their victory was a joint effort. She thought about all the memories with Liam, including the day he shaved his head in solidarity with her. Feeling foolish, she tried calling him again, this time reaching out to his workplace. To her surprise, she learned that Liam had taken a few days off and had been assigned a new office since his recent promotion. Natalie felt a deep pang of guilt, realizing that Liam's return might not be as she had envisioned. Until then, she had assumed he was simply upset and sulking, thinking she could resolve his anger with a simple call, asking him to come home. She believed a brief conversation and some intimacy would mend everything. She envisioned spending the rest of their lives together, making amends to him. Reflecting on the past few hours, she realized her recent behavior wasn't worth risking her relationship with Liam. She had started off level-headed. How had she turned into the kind of foolish girl she had always looked down on in college? Initially seeking a bit of enjoyment and self-care, she now saw that she had lost control. The allure of unfamiliar men offered only an illusion of control at the expense of what she should have reserved for Liam. There was no love involved, just empty, drunken encounters. Natalie reflected bitterly now she had to confront the extent of Liam's knowledge and wonder what kind of forgiveness he might need. Deep down, she doubted she could ever forgive herself. Meanwhile, Lily meticulously helped Liam regain his footing. They collected his belongings from the hotel and bought necessities. At Lily's insistence, they moved his items into her guest room. She encouraged him to talk, initially drawing out only a few words, but soon engaging him in deeper conversation. They avoided discussing Natalie altogether. As their 2-day break ended and they had to return to work, Lily handed Liam his cell phone silently. She watched as he scrolled through his messages. Despite over 100 missed calls from Natalie, he deleted them all without listening, his jaw set in newfound resolve. Lily believed he would eventually be all right. Back at work, Liam felt slightly better, though still on edge. Some co-workers had noticed Lily picking him up recently, sparking a wave of gossip. They commented on the redhead in the Mustang and joked about Liam having a supermodel driving him around. Liam grinned but remained silent. Lily's beauty was undeniable. Did he genuinely think that his cheerful facade slipped when someone insinuated he was having an affair with the mysterious redhead? Oblivious to Natalie's betrayal, everything seemed fine until the end of the workday. A security guard rushed into Liam's office, urgently summoning him to the parking lot. Liam feared for his car but was unprepared for the scene that awaited him. He heard shouts before he even reached the lot. Natalie's voice rang out, accusing Lily of being a homewrecker. Lily retorted sharply, pointing out that Natalie had abandoned him with her partying. Natalie shot back, denying the accusations, but Lily insisted that Natalie had vanished into bars and betrayed him. Guards stepped in to separate the women, but a crowd had already formed. Liam approached Lily, guiding her to the Mustang, and quietly told her to go home, assuring her he would follow shortly. He then instructed the guards to detain Natalie for at least 10 minutes before driving off after Lily. As he left, he heard Natalie's anguished cries. Despite his growing feelings for Lily, anger and pain surged within him. Natalie's voice echoed, insisting they needed to talk and that they could figure it out. She claimed that he still cared for her, but with tears streaming down his face, Liam walked away. Later at Lily's house, Liam was ready to confront the situation. Lily asked about his plan, and Liam replied that he needed clarity about his marriage. Lily questioned if he was sure he wanted to know, and Liam affirmed his decision. Lily admitted she wasn't so sure, retrieving a large envelope from her office and placing it on the table. She urged Liam not to open it, explaining that everything he needed was in there, but that seeing it would only cause more pain. She advised that if there was any love left for Natalie in his heart, he was better off not seeing the evidence. Lily mentioned that she had hired a private investigator and that the envelope contained photos, audio recordings, receipts, and reports. She cautioned that once he saw it firsthand, it would haunt him. Lily concluded by asking what they should have for dinner and heading to the kitchen. Liam reached for the envelope and pulled out the first photo, which showed Natalie lying on a table in a bar, her dress pushed up, surrounded by men. The sight was devastating. He struggled to breathe, returning the photo to the envelope and tossing it across the room. He collapsed onto Lily's couch, shutting his eyes as she embraced him. They sat in silence for the rest of the night. The next morning, claiming illness, they visited a divorce attorney Lily recommended. Naomi, the attorney, assured them she would make the process as painless as possible. She noted that they had no children and few assets aside from medical bills. Liam offered to cover the medical bills, explaining that he was deeply in debt because of Natalie's behavior. Naomi suggested that if Natalie contested, they could threaten to expose the evidence. The paperwork would be ready in a few days. Over the next days, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Natalie received the divorce papers and immediately tore them apart. Not only did she refuse to sign or read them, but she also declined to seek legal counsel. She told Naomi she would contest the divorce vehemently and vowed it would never happen. Instead, she proposed a legal separation and requested marriage counseling, begging Liam to come home to save their relationship. Naomi warned that threatening to expose her infidelity could ruin her reputation if evidence came out. Natalie scoffed at the threat, demanding Naomi come up with something substantial. Natalie made it clear she would stop at nothing to prevent the divorce. She refused to entertain any alternative proposals until she could speak with Liam directly. Naomi remarked that Natalie was being unreasonable and advised Liam to attend the meeting, as refusing to communicate could look bad in court. 2 days later, Liam found himself sitting across from Natalie in Naomi's office. Natalie questioned why he was doing this to them, her voice shaking. Liam calmly replied that she brought this upon them. Natalie admitted to going too far, drinking too much, and neglecting him, but insisted that it didn't justify throwing away the 10 years they had together. She pleaded that she loved him and asked him to believe her. Liam countered that she lied to him, betrayed his trust, and broke his heart. He explained that she did things he never thought she was capable of and didn't care about his feelings at all. It was all about her and her fun. Natalie tried to explain that after beating cancer, she just wanted to live a little and experience life, as going through something like that changed her priorities. Liam responded that now she would have all the time in the world to explore life without him in the way. He declared that he was done and stood up to leave. Natalie cried out, questioning what he meant by saying she was wrong. Liam stopped and turned back, explaining that they didn't fight cancer alone, they fought it together. He recounted being there every single day in the hospital, watching the person he loved most suffer, feeling powerless to help. He had to be strong for her, keep her spirits up, but inside he was falling apart. Every night after they made him leave, he went home and cried, terrified of losing her. Then every morning, he put on a brave face, and did it all over again. When it was over, he wanted to live too, to enjoy life, but the person he wanted to enjoy it with was busy drinking and cheating. One of them had to work to pay for all those medical bills, and that was him. She had a new body and a new outlook, but he had hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and a broken heart. He explained that she found new priorities, and he found out his wife was a cheater. Liam asked how she thought he felt hearing about all the men she had been with and pointed out that cancer may not have killed her, but it killed their marriage. He quietly suggested that maybe it wasn't the cancer, but her that caused the destruction. He looked at her one last time and asked her to sign the papers, stating that he had nothing more to say to her. Liam walked out, leaving Natalie sitting in the chair, tears streaming down her face. Outside, Lily saw the distress on Liam's face and knew he didn't need to talk about it. She handed him the keys to her Mustang SVT Cobra, a car Liam had always admired. Lily suggested they go home and assured him that the divorce would happen whether Natalie signed the papers or not. Liam asked if they could take a drive first, but Lily gently replied that they had plenty of time for that and that he needed to rest and eat something. When they arrived at Lily's house, Liam took a lingering look at the car before following her inside. Lily dropped her coat onto the living room floor and walked slowly up the stairs, glancing back at Liam with a teasing smile. As she climbed, she unbuttoned her blouse, letting it fall to the floor, and kicked off her shoes, leaving a trail of clothing behind her. By the time she reached the top of the stairs, she had discarded her tights, dangling them playfully before disappearing into her bedroom. Lily dropped her skirt, leaving it behind, and Liam marveled at the expanse of her fair skin. He realized that despite the emotional turmoil of the past weeks, he was still very much alive. Hastily ascending the stairs, he collected her discarded clothes along the way. Reaching the landing, he found Lily waiting, engaged in an enigmatic feminine ritual. Lily unfastened her bra, revealing her chest, which seemed to pulse with anticipation. Liam struggled to breathe as he gazed at her, his thoughts becoming increasingly scattered. Lily invited him to come get her, darting down the corridor. Liam suddenly understood the wisdom of George Clinton's lyrics in Atomic Dog. Why must I feel like that? Why must I chase the cat? It all made sense now. Liam pursued Lily to her bedroom, where she knelt before him, methodically disrobing him. Each piece of clothing she removed received her deliberate attention as they accumulated on the floor. With each discarded garment, the anticipation for their connection grew. Liam began to speak, but Lily silenced him with a finger to his lips. While Natalie had been soft and submissive, Lily was fierce and passionate. She engaged with him fervently, making it clear that she was wholly devoted to him. She was his anytime, anywhere, forever. They explored every conceivable pleasure. Weeks passed, and Natalie remained defiant, refusing to sign the divorce papers. She plotted to catch Liam with Lily, hoping to sabotage the divorce and win him back. She believed this retaliation would restore balance and reunite them. However, she hoped it wouldn't take long. Yearning for Liam's presence and feeling increasingly unwell without anyone showing concern for her. She imagined Liam's return would lift her spirits, make love to her, and restore her sense of importance. Though it might take time, she believed they could overcome this setback. One day, Natalie saw Liam and Lily at a restaurant, observing them through the window. She saw Lily tenderly caress Liam's cheek, and he reciprocated by holding her hand and kissing it. Liam hadn't followed the path she had expected, engaging in a physical relationship with Lily like she had with other men. It became clear to Natalie that Liam was deeply in love with Lily. Realizing what she had lost, Natalie unraveled. Bursting into the restaurant, she screamed at Lily to stay away from her husband, hurling insults. Lily retorted that Natalie was the one who let him slip away. Natalie insisted she didn't mean to, and was just seeking amusement, never intending for Liam to leave her. Lily responded calmly that Natalie would never win over her husband, and that he would already be Lily's if Natalie signed the papers. Natalie screamed that she would stop Lily first. As onlookers watched, Natalie's complexion paled and she grew faint, struggling to stay upright. Eventually, she sank to the floor, declaring she felt unwell. Regaining her composure, she exited the restaurant. 3 months later, Liam and Lily tied the knot. True to her word, Natalie never signed the divorce papers. Her cancer returned aggressively, and she was readmitted to the hospital. Despite receiving excellent care, the absence of someone by her side made the battle unbearable. She lost her will to live, spending her hospital days asking about Liam or writing letters to him, pleading for forgiveness, or simply asking for a visit. Liam offered to see her if she would agree to sign the papers, but this time the cancer was swift and merciless. Natalie deteriorated rapidly over a month before passing away. Liam and Lily attended her funeral. Liam delivered a heartfelt eulogy, expressing his deep affection for Natalie and reminiscing about their cherished moments together. He chose to focus on the positive aspects of their relationship, not their separation. In a touching gesture, he revealed to the small group of relatives in attendance that he and Lily had decided to name their expected child after Natalie. On some evenings, whether by the fireplace or driving his Boss 302 Mustang, Liam reflected on the past. Both he and Natalie had been mistaken. Natalie had claimed victory over cancer, leading Liam to believe they had conquered it together. However, the truth was that Natalie had only recently been diagnosed with cancer. After leaving the hospital, she had transformed drastically, becoming loud, angry, and destructive, wreaking havoc on everything and everyone around her, including her marriage, her relationship with Liam, and her family. When she couldn't get what she wanted, she turned her destructive tendencies inward. As for Liam and Lily, they lived happily ever after.